Hello, everyone. If you're someone who wants to improve your English speaking skills for real-life conversations, then today's video is perfect for you. We're going to learn 50 smart, everyday English conversation phrases that native speakers use all the time. These are not just textbook expressions, but natural, real-life sentences that you can use confidently whether you're at work, with friends, shopping, traveling, or just chatting casually. By practicing these phrases, you'll not only sound more fluent, but also more confident and natural when speaking English. You might already know some basic phrases, like, "How are you?" or "Thank you." But in this video, we're going beyond that. We're focusing on expressions that show emotion, politeness, smart word choices, and conversational flow. English isn't just about grammar or vocabulary lists. It's about knowing what to say in real-life situations, how to say it, and when. That's where these phrases come in. So whether you're at a beginner level or intermediate, this lesson is going to help you a lot. Throughout this video, I'll also include examples and practice exercises so you can hear how these phrases are used in context and repeat them out loud. Try shadowing with me. That means listening to the phrase and repeating it immediately after me. This method is powerful for training your tongue and brain to speak naturally. I'll also give you short daily life situations where these phrases fit, so you can imagine using them in your own life. Let's make this a practical and fun learning experience. Imagine you're talking to a coworker, a friend, a stranger in a store, or someone you just met. What would you say to Sue? And polite, smart, and fluent? That's exactly what you'll learn today. Keep listening till the end, because every phrase we go through builds your fluency step by step. By the end of this video, you'll feel more prepared to have English conversations with ease, so take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin this English conversation journey together. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes while learning. The most important thing is to keep practicing. Now let's dive into the world of smart, everyday English conversation phrases that will make your speech sound clear, confident, and natural. Let's start with something very common in everyday conversation. When you want to show that you understand someone, instead of always saying, "I understand," you can say, "That makes sense." It's a casual and natural way to respond when someone is explaining something to you. For example, imagine your friend is telling you why they missed the party. They say, "I had to stay late at work because my project deadline was moved up." You can respond with, "Oh, that makes sense." It sounds more conversational than just saying, "Okay," or "I understand." Let's practice. I'll say it first, and then you repeat. "That makes sense." Again. "That makes sense." Another smart phrase is, "I'm not sure, but I think." This is a polite way to express your opinion without sounding too direct. It helps soften your language and gives you time to think. For instance, if someone asks you, "Do you know if the meeting is still on at 2 p.m.?" You can say, I'm not sure, but I think it was moved to 3 p.m. This way, you're giving information without sounding like you're 100% certain. Try practicing that. I'm not sure, but I think. Now, fill in the blank with your own sentence in your mind. Now let's talk about how to sound polite when you need help. A very useful phrase is, could you help me with this? This is more polite than saying, help me with this. Let's say you're at the library and you need help finding a book. You go to the librarian and say, excuse me, could you help me with this? It's respectful and sounds friendly. Practice that with me. Could you help me with this? Again. Could you help me with this? If you want to offer help to someone, a great phrase is, would you like me to help you? For example, your colleague is carrying a lot of papers. You see they're struggling, and you say, would you like me to help you? It shows kindness and consideration. Practice this phrase. Would you like me to help you? Let's say it together. Would you like me to help you? Now, sometimes in daily life, we are in a situation where we need a moment to think before answering. Instead of staying silent or saying, you can say, let me think for a second. This phrase buys you time and also keeps the conversation going naturally. For example, if someone asks, what do you want to eat for lunch? You can say, let me think for a second. This gives you a natural pause. Let's say it together. Let me think for a second. Another smart phrase that you can use when you don't know something is, I haven't thought about that. It's a polite way to say you haven't considered the question before. Let's say your friend asks you, would you ever move to another country? And you respond, I haven't thought about that. It shows honesty and also keeps the conversation open. Practice it now. I haven't thought about that in everyday situations. It's also helpful to express when you need to leave or excuse yourself instead of just saying, I have to go. You can say, I should get going. This sounds natural and polite. For example, when you're at a friend's house and it's getting late, you can say, it's getting late, I should get going. Try practicing it with me now. I should get going. Let's say you're waiting for something and you want to check how much time it will take. You can ask, do you know how long it will take? For instance, you're at a cafe and you've been waiting for your order. You can go to the counter and politely ask, excuse me, do you know how long it will take? It's a smart way to express curiosity or impatience without sounding rude. Practice it now. Do you know how long it will take? Now imagine someone shares some good news with you instead of just saying, nice or okay. A better phrase would be, good for you, or that's great to hear. These are expressions of genuine happiness for the other person. For example, if your friend says, I finally got the job I wanted, you can respond with, that's great to hear. Let's practice it. That's great to hear. Sometimes we want to express that something surprised us. A good expression is, I didn't see that coming. For instance, if you're watching a movie and there's a plot twist, you can say, wow, I didn't see that coming. Or, if your coworker says, they're quitting their job suddenly, You might say the same phrase. Let's practice it together. I didn't see that coming. Let's talk about how to express that you are unsure about plans. Instead of just saying, maybe, try saying, I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it. It's softer and more polite. For example, if someone invites you to a party, but you don't know your schedule, you can say, thanks for the invite. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it, but I'll let you know. Practice it with me. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it. Let's now go into some phrases used when you're giving your opinion. Instead of just saying, I think, you can use, in my opinion, or from my point of view. These phrases sound thoughtful and clear. For example, if you're discussing whether online learning is better than in-person learning, you might say, from my point of view, online learning is more flexible. Or, in my opinion, both have advantages. Practice both of these with me. In my opinion. From my point of view. Now, when something is not a big deal, or you don't want someone to feel bad, you can say, no worries, or it's all good. These are casual ways to say everything is fine. For instance, if someone accidentally bumps into you and apologizes, instead of just saying, okay, you can say, no worries, try it now, no worries, one more time, it's all good. Let's also practice how to accept compliments or respond to appreciation. If someone says, you did a great job, you can say, thanks, I really appreciate that. Or, that means a lot. These responses sound warm and natural. Practice with me. Thanks, I really appreciate that. That means a lot. Now let's imagine you're at a store and the cashier says, do you need a bag? A common response could be, yes, please, or no, thank you. These two expressions, yes, please, and no, thank you, are small but powerful. They show politeness in everyday moments. Let's practice both now. Yes, please. No, thank you. Now let's move on to how you can politely interrupt someone. This is a situation that comes up a lot, especially in meetings or group conversations. Instead of cutting someone off with a loud wait or just starting to speak, you can say, sorry to interrupt, but, or, can I say something quickly? These phrases help you enter the conversation without sounding rude. For example, if two colleagues are discussing a project and you have something important to add, you can say, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to add one quick point. Practice that with me. Sorry to interrupt, but... Now try. Can I say something quickly? Another common scenario is when you don't hear or understand something, instead of just saying, what, or huh, which might sound impolite or too casual. Try saying, could you repeat that please? Or, sorry, I didn't catch that. These expressions are polite and very commonly said in everyday conversation. Imagine someone gives you directions quickly and you didn't hear them clearly. You can say, sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again, please? Let's practice both phrases now. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat that, please? Now, sometimes we want to express agreement without just saying yes or I agree. Some better ways to do that include phrases like, that's so true, absolutely, or I couldn't agree more. For instance, if your friend says, learning a new language takes time and patience, you can respond with, That's so true, or absolutely. These responses help keep the conversation natural and connected. Practice with me. That's so true. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Now let's learn how to show that you're thinking or reflecting about something in a conversation. A helpful phrase is, "That's an interesting point." It shows that you are engaged and thinking about what the other person just said. Imagine you're having a discussion about travel, and someone says, "I prefer traveling alone because I enjoy the freedom." You can respond, "That's an interesting point. Practice saying it with me." That's an interesting point. When something surprises you, or when you hear something unexpected, you can use the phrase, "Really? I had no idea." This sounds natural and shows curiosity or surprise. For example, your coworker tells you that they once lived in Brazil for 2 years. You can say, "Really? I had no idea." Practice it now. "Really? I had no idea." Let's now look at a few ways to express gratitude beyond the basic thank you. You can say, "Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it." Or, "That's very kind of you." These sound more personal and genuine. For example, when someone holds the door for you or helps you with your homework, you can say, "That's very kind of you." Or, "I really appreciate it." Practice all 3 phrases with me. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Now let's imagine you're giving someone advice. Instead of saying, "You should," which might sound a bit strong, try using, "Have you thought about?" or "Maybe you could." For instance, if your friend says they're tired all the time, you can say, "Have you thought about going to bed earlier?" It's a softer and more friendly way to suggest something. Let's practice both. Have you thought about? Maybe you could. Now, in daily conversations, we often want to express excitement. A few great phrases for that include, "That sounds amazing," or "I'm so excited for you." For example, your friend tells you they're going on vacation to Italy. You can say, "Wow, that sounds amazing. Let's practice that." That sounds amazing. I'm so excited for you. Sometimes you want to end a conversation politely. A good phrase to use is, "It was great talking to you." This sounds warm and respectful. Imagine you've been chatting with someone for a while, and now you have to leave. You can say, "Anyway, it was great talking to you. Let's catch up again soon." Practice it with me. It was great talking to you. Let's catch up again soon. Now here's a useful phrase when someone gives you bad news. You can say, "I'm really sorry to hear that." It shows empathy and care. For example, your friend says they didn't get the job they wanted. You respond with, "I'm really sorry to hear that." Say it with me now. I'm really sorry to hear that. Let's imagine a friendly conversation with someone you just met. They tell you something interesting about themselves. You can say, "That's cool," or "Wow, that's interesting." These short phrases help show that you're engaged and enjoying the chat. Try practicing both. That's cool. Wow, that's interesting. Now let's do a short practice exercise. I'll describe a simple daily life moment, and you imagine yourself in it and repeat the phrase aloud. You're at a coffee shop. You see your order, and the barista says, It'll be ready in 5 minutes. You smile and say, "Thanks a lot." Later, your friend texts you, "I got the job." And you reply, "That's amazing. I'm so happy for you." Now you walk into work, and your colleague asks if you watched the football game last night. You didn't. So you say, "No, I missed it. Was it good?" These little phrases are simple but powerful. They help you stay natural in conversation. Let's continue with more short phrases that are common and helpful. When someone gives you a suggestion that you like, you can say, "That works for me." For example, your friend says, "Let's meet at 6 instead of 5. You respond, "Sure, that works for me." It shows agreement and flexibility. Practice it now. "That works for me." Sometimes we want to politely disagree. Instead of saying "you're wrong," which sounds harsh, you can say, "I see what you mean, but," or "I'm not sure I agree with that." These phrases keep the conversation respectful and open. Let's say your friend says, "I think it's easy to learn English." You might respond, "I see what you mean, but I think it depends on the person." Practice both of these now. "I see what you mean, but I'm not sure I agree with that." Let's talk about situations where you need more information. You can say, "Can you tell me more about that?" Or, "What do you mean exactly?" For example, someone says, "The event was a disaster," and you want to know why. You can say, "What do you mean exactly?" This shows curiosity and keeps the conversation going. Let's practice. "Can you tell me more about that?" "What do you mean exactly?" Now here's a useful expression when someone is explaining something and you agree with their point. You can say, "Exactly," or "You took the words right out of my mouth." These are natural ways to show strong agreement. Let's practice. Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. And finally, when someone thanks you, instead of always saying "you're welcome," you can say "no problem," "anytime," or "glad to help." These sound more casual and friendly. For example, someone says, "Thanks for helping me with the project." You respond, "No problem, anytime." Practice these now. No problem. Anytime. Glad to help. Let's continue with more smart, simple phrases that will help you in different situations. Imagine someone gives you advice that you've already tried before. You want to say that in a polite way, without sounding annoyed. You can use the phrase, "I've actually tried that already." This shows that you've considered it, without rejecting their suggestion rudely. For example, someone says, "Why don't you try using a to-do list?" And you respond, "Thanks. I've actually tried that already. It helped for a while, but I'm still figuring out what works best." Let's say it together. I've actually tried that already. Now, let's imagine you're in a conversation and you want to check if the other person understands what you mean. A helpful phrase is, "Do you know what I mean?" Or, "Does that make sense?" These expressions are great for making sure your message is clear. For example, you might say, "I prefer working at night because I'm more focused then. Do you know what I mean?" Or, "I think we need a different strategy for this project. Does that make sense?" Practice both with me. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? When you want to politely say no to something, you can use the phrase, "I'll have to pass." It's a friendly way to say, you're not interested, without sounding too blunt. For example, your friends invite you to a concert you're not really into, and you say, thanks for the invite, but I'll have to pass this time. It's polite and respectful. Let's say it together. I'll have to pass. Sometimes we want to express that we are very busy instead of saying, I'm busy, which can sound a little closed off. Try saying, I've got a lot on my plate right now. This is a smart and natural phrase to express that you're handling many things. For example, I'd love to help you with that, but I've got a lot on my plate right now. Practice with me. I've got a lot on my plate right now. If you're not feeling well and someone asks how you are, instead of saying, I'm fine, which may not be true, you can say, I'm hanging in there. It means you're managing, but not at your best. For example, I've been really tired lately, but I'm hanging in there. Practice it now. I'm hanging in there. Let's practice a short scenario. Imagine you're walking with a coworker, and they ask, Are you okay? And you say, I'm hanging in there. Just a busy week. Later, another coworker asks if you want to join the after-work dinner, and you say, Thanks, but I'll have to pass. Then someone says, You look like you've got a lot going on. And you smile and say, Yeah, I've got a lot on my plate right now. These are small, natural exchanges that happen every day. Try speaking them out loud with me to build your fluency. Now let's look at a helpful way to change the topic smoothly in conversation. If the conversation is getting too personal or too serious, and you want to move on, a gentle phrase is, anyway, changing the subject, or speaking of something else. These phrases make the transition easy and polite. For example, anyway, changing the subject. Did you watch the new movie on Netflix? Let's practice. Anyway, changing the subject. If you're trying to get someone's attention, maybe in a store or during a conversation, you can say, excuse me, or sorry to bother you. These are soft, respectful ways to begin speaking. For example, in a cafe you might say, excuse me, is this seat taken? Or if you're calling a colleague during work hours, you might say, sorry to bother you. Do you have a minute? Prac. Tice both. Excuse me, sorry to bother you. Let's say someone asks you for your opinion, but you're not sure what to say yet. You can buy some time with the phrase, that's a good question. Let me think about it. It makes you sound thoughtful and respectful. For example, what's your opinion on the new company policy? You can say, that's a good question. Let me think about it. Let's say it together. That's a good question. Let me think about it. In some conversations, you might not know enough about the topic to give your opinion. A smart way to express that is, I don't know enough to say. For example, someone says, what do you think about the election results? You can reply, honestly, I don't know enough to say. This is respectful and honest. Practice it now. I don't know enough to say. Now let's practice these. In a conversation-style scenario, imagine you're at a lunch table with coworkers. Someone says, what do you think about the company's new bonus system? You respond, that's a good question. Let me think about it. Another colleague says, do you think it's fair? and you say, "Honestly, I don't know enough to say." Then someone changes the topic and says, "Speaking of something else, have you seen the new team schedule?" And you respond, "Not yet. Is it online?" These phrases help you participate in real-life conversations with fluency and confidence. Sometimes you want to confirm plans. Instead of just saying, "Okay," you can say, "So we're meeting at 6, right?" Or, "Just to confirm, we're still on for tomorrow?" These help avoid misunderstandings. For example, before a meeting, you can say, "Just to confirm, we're meeting at 3 p.m.? Practice it with me. Just to confirm, we're still on for." Let's now look at how to give positive feedback. You can say things like, "You did a great job," or "That was really impressive." These are nice ways to encourage someone. Imagine your friend gives a speech and you want to support them. You can say, "That was real. Impressive. You spoke with such confidence." Practice both phrases. "You did a great job. That was really impressive." When you want to politely leave a conversation, another option is, "I should let you go now." This is helpful when talking on the phone or in person, especially when the other person seems busy. For example, you're on a call and you say, "Okay, I should let you go now. Talk soon." Practice it with me. "I should let you go now." Sometimes you want to share your experience gently. A soft way to do that is, "From my experience." For example, someone says, "Do you think traveling solo is safe?" And you respond, "From my experience, it's very safe if you stay aware." This phrase shows you're speaking from your own understanding. Practice it now. From my experience. Let's wrap up this section with another short practice routine. Imagine you're finishing a call with your cousin. You say, "I should let you go now, but it was really nice catching up." Earlier in the conversation, they asked for your advice on planning a trip. You said, "From my experience, booking early really helps." Then they thanked you, and you said, "No problem, anytime." These mini dialogues are exactly how natural English flows in daily life. Practice them with me to feel more confident. Let's move forward with a few more essential and smart everyday phrases that will make you sound fluent in any setting. If someone is thanking you and you want to respond casually but politely, another great way is to say, "Don't mention it," or "It was nothing." For example, your friend says, "Thanks for helping me move all those boxes." And you can smile and say, "Don't mention it," or "It was nothing." Let's practice together. Don't mention it. It was nothing. When you want to check if someone is okay with something, you can use the phrase, "Is that all right with you?" Or, "Are you okay with that?" These are polite ways to include the other person in a decision. For example, if you're planning lunch with a colleague, you might say, "Let's meet at 1 p.m. Is that all right with you?" This shows consideration. Try it with me. Is that all right with you? Sometimes you want to express that you're flexible. You can say, "I'm easy," or "I'm good with whatever works for you." These are casual phrases that help when making group decisions. For example, someone asks, "Do you want to go for Chinese or pizza?" You can say, "I'm good with whatever works for you." Practice that now. "I'm good with whatever works for you." Let's look at phrases for expressing your intention to stay in touch with someone. A friendly one is, let's keep in touch, or let's catch up soon. These phrases are perfect at the end of a meeting, a phone call, or even when leaving an event. For example, it was great seeing you again. Let's keep in touch. Try saying it. Let's keep in touch. In conversations, we sometimes want to express that we don't want to bother someone too much. A helpful phrase is, I won't take up too much of your time. This shows you are being mindful of the other person's schedule. Imagine calling someone and saying, I know you're busy, so I won't take up too much of your time. Let's say it together. I won't take up too much of your time. Now here's a great phrase when you agree to something, especially if it's a plan or an idea. You can say, sounds like a plan, or let's do it. These are cheerful and enthusiastic ways to accept. For example, someone says, let's meet on Saturday afternoon, and you say, sounds like a plan. Practice that now. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. Let's go through a brief real-life scenario to practice some of the recent expressions. Imagine this. Your friend texts you, want to go out for dinner on Friday? You reply, sounds like a plan. I'm good with whatever you choose. Then they say, let's do Thai food. You say, perfect. Let's keep in touch and confirm the time later. These small exchanges are the heart of natural English. Practice them by saying them aloud with me. Another helpful phrase is, let me know, which you can use when you're waiting for information or a decision. For example, you're organizing a group event and you say, let me know if you're coming. Or someone asks if they can borrow your book next week, and you say, sure, just let me know when you need it. Practice it now. Let me know. Let's now focus on a polite way to show appreciation when someone offers you something. Instead of just saying yes or no, you can say, that's kind of you, or I'd appreciate that. These expressions show gratitude and warmth. Imagine someone says, do you want me to give you a ride home? You can say, thanks, that's kind of you. Practice it with me. That's kind of you. I'd appreciate that. And sometimes you need to confirm or check information. A useful phrase is, just to be sure. For example, just to be sure the meeting is at 10, right? Or, just to be sure we need to bring our own laptops? This phrase helps you double-check details. Say it with me, just to be sure. Let's do another real-life practice exercise. Imagine you're on a work call and you want to double-check a few things. You say, just to be sure, we're presenting slides first and then answering questions? Your colleague says, yes. You reply, great, sounds like a plan. Then someone offers to print copies for you, and you say, that's kind of you. I'd appreciate that. These small conversational pieces build your fluency naturally. Another very smart phrase when you're talking about something surprising or unexpected is out of the blue. For example, he called me out of the blue after 5 years. Or, that idea came to me out of the blue. A means something happened suddenly and unexpectedly. Practice it now. Out of the blue. Also, when someone asks how things are going, instead of always saying good or fine, you can say, can't complain, or things are going pretty well. These are more relaxed and natural expressions. Try them with me. Can't complain. Things are going pretty well. Let's wrap up with one last realistic practice story. Imagine you're walking into your workplace. A coworker says, "Hey, how's everything?" You smile and reply, "Can't complain. Things are going pretty well." Later, someone brings up an old colleague and says they randomly got a message from them. You say, "Wow, out of the blue?" Then you get asked about the schedule for a meeting and you say, "Just to be sure, we're meeting in the main room at 4, right?" These moments use all the phrases we've learned and make your speech sound natural, confident, and smooth. Now that we've gone through all 50 smart and practical conversation phrases, I want to remind you that learning a language is not about memorizing everything at once. It's about small, consistent practice every day. Choose 5 phrases from today's video and try to use them in your real conversations this week. Repeat them aloud in front of a mirror. Use them while thinking in English, or even write short dialogues using them. The more you practice, the more automatic they'll become. Also, remember that speaking confidently doesn't mean speaking perfectly. It means speaking clearly, with the words that make sense for the moment. These phrases help you fill in those daily moments of conversation, from polite responses to honest opinions, from showing understanding to checking for clarity. You now have a full set of smart tools you can use every day. So, keep practicing and stay motivated. Every small effort you make brings you closer to fluency. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel, English in Minutes, for more daily conversation tips, listening practice, and vocabulary building. I'm Natasha, and it's always a pleasure to help you grow your English step by step. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep practicing and keep speaking